Hi there and welcome. This is the second video in a four-part series designed to demonstrate how to develop an application in Workflow Ascendant. Here we'll be putting in place a simple two-state application from scratch. So let's take it from the very beginning. Whoa, wait, stop! Not that far back. That's more like it. As you can see, we're in Domino Designer. I'll create a copy of the blank Workflow Ascendant application, 00, and we'll call it 05. And so we don't get confused as to which database we're in, let's change how it's displayed in the Notes client. I'll go over to that now, and I'll bookmark the application. You'll definitely want to do this as you'll be switching back and forth between different user IDs, and it will save you a lot of time. The first thing we want to do is modify the active language document. There is where the basic configuration parameters are for the application. Set application language. You just need to do this once. We'll check No for Hide Workflow tab. I'll explain this in a little bit. And in the Documents tab, set the name of our process to Sample Workflow, for example. So Document 01 will be the name of the Notes form. We'll adapt, but users of the application will know this as Sample Workflow. Back over to Domino Designer. Our remaining objective for this video is to initialize our application with the appropriate actors. You'll remember the actors in our application from the first video: author, manager, director, and CEO. In Workflow Ascendant jargon, we refer to these as constraints. Let's go ahead and add these to form Document 01. You'll notice that WA author and manager are already there. You usually find them in workflow applications. Let's add CEO and director, copying from field manager, for example. Finally, in tab Details, we'll add fields Title and Total. There are sample fields. Anyway, we now need a way to assign usernames to those constraint fields. Which roles are assumed by which users? The script library, WA Application Specific, is where you can pick from an already defined routine, or you can create your own. WA Set Users role is the one I personally use the most, but you can see there are others. Up above we have Set Users ERP. If your usernames are stored in a relational database, for example, you just need to remember to also add the routine name here in WA Execute Stored Procedure. I'm just going to copy the reference to the one we'll be using. Going over to Workflow States, let's create our first state document, $created. We'll select Rule Add Manual. Note the asterisks in brackets. This means that anyone can modify a workflow document at this particular state. Since this is the first state in the process, it means that anyone can create a document. We'll go ahead and configure Rule 1. Now note we can't select a state here since we haven't defined any. So we'll type one in, archived. And lastly, let's paste in our initialization routine, WA Set Users role. Let's go ahead and create the archived state to finish our initial cut at the state documents. The routine hashtag WA Set Users role expects to see identical field and role documents, which correspond to the constraints defined in our workflow. So with that in mind, it will create a CEO, Director, and Manager. Now let's go over to roles and do the same. Note we'll assign individual usernames to these roles. Lastly, we'll set the ACL with these entries. So let's test our workflow. First and always, in View Workflow States, select the button Verify, first selecting one state document in the view. This will verify that the documents are syntactically correct and that the definitions are coherent, meaning that all of the states are accessible. Now in View Documents Responsible, we'll select Create. Notice how the constraint fields have been initialized with our users. We'll send it off in the workflow, which we can now visualize in the view Archived. You'll notice that there is no reference allocated to this workflow document. I never liked that, so let's change that. But first, let's go in and hide the workflow tab, as we know now that this part of the application is working correctly. Note that if you proceed like this, you don't need to wait until step 20 in a process to see that you have not assigned users correctly to the appropriate role. Now going in and creating our reference. Let's give that a try. You'll see that the workflow tab is now hidden. We'll advance the document in the workflow. And there is our document reference. That's it. We now have a ultra simple functional workflow application. There's our basic initialization. Please check out the next video where we will create the entire process. Thanks again for watching.